warrior. It is Friday, September 6th, 2024, and something that's been bothering me all night. And I wanted to share with you because I would like also your thoughts on this. So, welcome. Thank you for tuning in, listening. Please share our videos. We want to get information out into the public, out into your hands. What I call the nuts and bolts of issues regarding children and families, whether it's human trafficking, online safety, things going on in our schools, and boy, do we have a lot of that going on constantly. But we have to keep at these issues because I want to make sure what mainstream media does not provide for you, that the Warriors does provide. I could sit here 24 hours a day, I kid you not, and talk about issues, but of course we're boots on the ground with a lot of different initiatives. We cannot do that. But I want to get something on your mind since we just had this horrific event happening. And I'm careful when I choose my words because it's YouTube and who knows, right? With this 14-year-old who, unfortunately, and God bless children and teachers, families going through this horrific event. I think you know the event I'm speaking about in Georgia. But I should really start with something I tend to forget, which is please check if you are subscribed to this video. Subscribe to the channel, I should say, because a lot of people have been reporting in just the last week. For some reason, they subscribed and they are unsubscribed. I don't know why. I ask questions. I don't get answers from the powers that be. But double check. And if you're not subscribed, you just happen to be tuning in, could you please subscribe? It's free. It costs you nothing. We need to build community. I mean, after all, our Warriors hashtag is community creates change. So let's talk about what's happening in America right now, because that is our focus. Just a reminder, there's so much happening around the globe. We want to focus at the Warriors on what is happening, that old saying, in our own backyards, in our own communities, in our own homes. Schools. So schools basically around the country started last month in August for a lot of, Florida, Georgia started 5 weeks ago. Here in New York City, where I'm based, they just started yesterday. I'm never going to understand this, and we have spoken about it before. We have these horrific events, let's face it, the reality. I don't know. Maybe once a year, I'll just use that. Don't quote me on it. With a child bringing a weapon to school. And I don't really understand how this is happening repeatedly because, first of all, let's just remember, I try to stay away from politics, but with the issues I work on, you kind of really can't. So I got to just jump in with a couple of things. We know the whole gun issue is politicized, let's face it, right? But I'm here to say that New York City just put out a report that last year confiscated in the New York City public schools, confiscated. That's what they found. So who knows what they didn't find. About 400 weapons. Those weapons included not only guns, but you had knives and brass knuckles and things like that. Look at Europe. Look what's happening there. Stabbings, right? We hear about a lot of stabbings. I guess I should say warning for this video. This is what we're talking about. But it's the reality. Can you imagine today we have reality, but we have to put out warnings. But anyway, warnings. I'm here to say it's not about, hear me out, guns, knives, brass knuckles. It is about a couple of things. It is definitely about our youth mental health crisis, our mental health crisis in general in the United States. And it's also about, this is the part I started with, but I digressed. I admit it. Our schools. If we have these horrific events happening, what have we learned from them? How is it that weapons are allowed into the schools? Now, in looking at the school of Georgia, it seemed to be in the middle of a lot of property out in a suburb, out in the country. I'm not really sure. How come these schools are soft? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? What have we learned? Why aren't all the doors locked? You can push out, but you can't get in. Many schools here in New York, I'm thinking about this, because we do a lot of focus groups behind the scenes, and we have sources and parents and kids, and many of them are you can only go through one main door if you're visiting or attending, with now security at that point, maybe more than one. And some schools here in New York have even put in metal detectors in some of the middle of high schools. Now, a lot of parents have said, We don't want more security, police, resource officers, whatever they're calling these people, around our kids. Let me tell you something. We have a national crisis going on. And if that's what it takes to keep our kids safe, then we have to do everything in our power. I am here to tell you and remind you that we live in a different environment. We live in a different society. We live with the internet, which prompts and shows things to kids and all people. We need to adjust our thinking on a daily basis. And this is the part I don't understand because it's very clear cut. As the facts and reality change, so must our thinking. All schools, I don't understand this. So you as the parent, the caretaker, whatever your family dynamic is, you need to participate in the school in some fashion. And whether that is using this last horrific incident as an example, maybe getting a few other parents, maybe not, maybe doing it on your own, approaching the school to make sure. Because a lot of these schools out in the suburbs and things, they're leaving side doors unlocked, gym doors unlocked, maybe they put the doorstop in between because they're out playing on a field. We cannot, and I don't care. Scaring kids are seeing everything on the internet. This is the world we live in. We can have no unlocked doors. There are so many things I don't understand. This is clear cut a way to help cut down on this crisis of these school incidents, these horrific violent incidents. And again, now the news is, which I'm going to say, thank goodness, most people in the last couple of years have opened up. They're listening to the Warriors, other stations online, other platforms, but we still have the bulk of the Americans, because I, again, do my focus groups, listening to mainstream media, listening to cable news. They still will quote CNN. They will quote Fox News. I saw this on Newsmax. Okay. We have to keep in mind that these platforms, and this is the truth, are there to make money, to stay with their audience. They're not there to really give you anything that's going to make you think, shake it up. They've got their, and rightfully so, that's their business model. Whatever, if they're left, right, conservative, whatever they're calling themselves these days. I really think we're at a point where there are no parties. If somebody does ask me, I say I'm an American, and I leave it at that. I really feel like that is the best answer these days for me. But I'm not understanding, people are still, so we have the internet. And for all of the flaws and things we point out and predation, it is still the greatest source of, you can resource, look something up, read about things. The Warriors. If we didn't have the internet, you may not have, just think back. And other platforms. Maybe you'd never hear from me. Maybe I'd be writing blogs, but you'd never see me. We'd never be able to interact when we do the live stream, the live shows, which actually I think I should do a Saturday Night Live Warriors, so mark your calendars now. But I want everybody, let's focus on the schools, back to school time. So many things going on. This is priority. Once again, we're being distracted in the election countdown. What do we have, 60 days? I will never tell you how to vote, but you are to vote who will be best for the situation we just spoke about: schools, safety, crime, mental health, kids, families, human trafficking, sexual exploitation, everything I am talking about. Right now, mainstream media has caught on a bit to trend Nicaragua, the vicious, violent Venezuelan crime, organized crime, criminals, monsters, were their main business. I mean, they were let out of Venezuelan prisons, coming here freely, allowed, and I was always told they are bringing mass weapons here. One of their main businesses, sex trafficking. One of their main businesses is also drug trafficking. We can never forget lost voices of fentanyl. Again, the parents every day who post pictures, forever 16, forever 12, forever 21, of their beautiful children. People will say overdosed, drug overdose. This is a mass poisoning of Americans. This should be first and foremost, whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican, we're not allowing this. When do we become like this? And getting back to these vicious, trendy Nicaragua that we're hearing about from Aurora, Colorado, there's a situation in Houston that's been going on a long time. I heard 2 years ago they're burying weapons in Texas underground. They're also burying in Arizona. They're out on Long Island, here in New York. If we know it, why isn't it being taken care of? So when you go to vote, which is what, about 60 days from now, you think about all of this. You think about everything that will affect our children. Because I leave you with this thought. Well, before I leave you, one more thing. Please go to our Twitter, our Facebook. Everything is Lynn's Warriors. Very easy, because I want all of you to become a warrior. I really do. In your own home, in your own community, to yourself, to your child. Remember, you may not have a child, but you're a family member. You have a friend with a child. We have to think like this. This is the way to think in 2024 going forward. But there were things, for instance, I posted something on Twitter, X, that trends you should know about from TikTok. Now, it says for teachers, but it's for all people. Because you have to know. Would you know that a trend was eating Tide Pods a couple of years ago? And kids died from it or were poisoned? Who would even think these things? Would you know that one of the TikTok challenges was the blackout challenge? Only recently, a judge in Philadelphia, just a couple of days ago, ruled that this mom of a 10-year-old girl who died doing the blackout challenge, where they step by step are told how to choke themselves, and I'll leave it at that, and she died, the mother can bring this and hold accountable TikTok in a lawsuit. Now, doesn't that seem reasonable? If something's online, step by step, how you can harm yourself, step by step, it is that slippery slope that we're fighting all the time. I'll be down in Washington next Wednesday, that very sacred day of September 11th, part of a Senate roundtable discussing issues with various bipartisan senators in the room. I'm very honored to be there. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to coming back and giving you a report on all we have, and I just went through the list before I started this, we have about 15 child/teen/people safety measures regarding big tech. The Take It Down Act, the Report Act, the Earn It Act, the Kids Online Safety Act, you go through the list, and where they each stand. So at least when I go and speak to our Congress, I will know, I kind of know already, but I'll know what I'm talking about. But I want to share those with you. So you do know, as much as we talk about the dissatisfaction, the craziness, the lunacy, there are so many good things happening. And we have to stay in that lane and believe. Nonstop being a warrior, education, talking to the kids, open and honestly. At the same time, push for legislation. So when I ask you, go on and just sign your name, find out who represents you. It's all done. These forms are all done when you go to our Twitter, Facebook, or lynswarriors.org. Under our tab that says Take Action, there's something that says Take Action with resources. And you click on that little resources, and it might say, add your name. And you add your name, usually your zip code, and it goes right to the person. We've written it for you. Now, I mean, how easy can that be? I am telling you, I am very, I don't want to say happy, it's a bad word with all of this, but I'm glad mainstream media, cable news, I'm glad they're at least talking about Trendy Aragua. Where's everybody been? How were they able to progress this far? They are working in all 50 states. They were certainly working in all 50 states according to border security that we work with 2 years ago. And they were telling me this is the biggest fear. And you know what? They get our American kids in middle and high school to deal their dirty fentanyl, their drugs. Because remember, fentanyl is an actual drug. When used appropriately under medical supervision, is a good drug. We are talking about illicit, fake chemicals, whatever this poison is, right? They're cutting into, it can be marijuana, it can be edibles, it can be other, sold as opioids, oxy and things like that. And kids are buying them online. That's another thing. How can you buy drugs online with 2 clicks? Take a pill and die. We have about 300 Americans dying every day, including vulnerable teens and kids, from fentanyl poisoning, not an overdose. Poisoning. Why isn't this shut down? Why are certain countries, now I'm really going off a little bit, why are certain countries kind of sanctioned or picked on all the time? And I am being careful with my words because I want the video to get out there, whatever I'm saying. If there's a nugget in here of something, it'll make a bell go off in your head. You'll research it on your own. That's my goal, not to not have this video play. So some countries, think about this, sanctioned, reported on, kicked out, whatever, and their media. Other places, oh, I don't know, I'll say it, like China, allowed to run freely because we know the poisonous illicit fentanyl is coming from China through Mexico, through our open borders. Not shut down? I don't get it. Do you? So I want you to be aware. Kids, schools, what we have to do. We have to do everything in our power appropriately to safeguard our kids. And if that means I don't want to hear, no, I don't want more police in my school. No, I don't want metal detectors. This is the world we live in. I don't care if you're in the middle of a cornfield somewhere. This is more likely the place to have it happen than where I am in New York City. This, because the guard is let down, right? Take action. Take action. Learn about those current, remember TikTok, Instagram, those are the places, Snapchat, 3 largest platforms for young people. Kids as young as 7, 8, 9 now, and the teens, that's where they get their information. That's why the dangerous algorithms we fight, leading them into bullying. I was thinking about this also. Bullying is a really good word. People have become, it's like normalized now. People have become habituated. Like that's their makeup, a lot of people now. They're just bullies. They're nasty. They're rude. They're obnoxious. I can count on one hand right here, maybe in the last year, how many people held a door for me. I hold a door for people, whether you're a woman, a child, or a man. If you're around me and I'm holding the door, I can count it on one hand. I'm in New York City in an apartment building, and don't tell me to leave because I'm fighting for my city. This is my city. I'm a New Yorker. Why should I leave? They should leave. An elevator, the etiquette always was, women first. And no, I don't. I'm trying to think. My husband acts like this. Women first. My husband does it even with men on the elevator. Please, first. Nobody says to me, please go out first. No common decency or courtesy. Just this big slosh. But we're not going to let it happen on our Warriors Watch. We're going to teach our kids. We're going to do everything in our power. One person, one child at a time. So stick with me. Stay with me. I'm very excited about going to Washington. I'll be much more vocal in Washington, if for nothing else, to put forth these ideas that we got to shake it up, change it up, because nothing's working. But you must be that warrior in your own home. Think about your school. You're a parent. You're a caretaker. Go to the school. Ask, what are the safety procedures? Ask. Maybe they can send home a memo. Maybe they can have, some kind of something in the auditorium about school safety. You must facilitate this. I am telling you. Because, unfortunately, this horrific crime will happen again. Don't take your eye off the ball. Follow our hashtag, which is Community Creates Change. And thank you always. Become a member of the Lynn's Warriors. We're building up memberships. You can find that on the membership tab. Please write to me always. Any questions or comments, lynn@lynswarriors.org. Throwing out there, if you happen to be watching this and hear this, the wonderful donations we've been having coming in of toothbrushes, of toiletries, of children's clothing, various other products we use for our safe houses or for kids in the shelters. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. A lot of people want to remain anonymous, but I'm going to put out an overall great big thank you. You are true warriors. And if you're listening to this, you're a warrior. Share it. Talk about it. Open and honest communication with our kids. Don't be afraid. They're learning and hearing from other people. You be the warrior in charge. Community creates change. Now go out and be a warrior.